Okay, before we get started, we need to get in tune, so I'll run over the strings for you real quick. Here's your fourth string. Your third string. Your second string. Your first string. And your fifth string. Alright. The first thing we're going to talk about is Don's rolls. And one thing to remember, I'm going to show you a few of Don's real common rolls that he used that gave him his unique sound. But one thing to remember is that Don used whatever roll necessary to get the melody that he wanted. So it's really hard to pinpoint all of Don's rolls because he used so many. Sometimes he used really irregular, really strange rolls just to get the sound that he wanted. But there are a few that really stand out that really kind of define his rolling style. And of course, one of the rolls that he uses the most is the forward roll. And I'm sure you're familiar with that, but we'll show it anyway. It's just 1, 2, 3. Like that. And it's like the tune In the Mood. And it's basically, a boogie type roll. Like that. And I'll move over a little bit and show you this from the side. Like that. And Don used this roll in a lot of different ways. I mean, he would do a double roll, which we'll get into that, where he doubled the amount of forward rolls, which in a certain time period, instead of doing a standard roll like this, he would do a double roll where you had 2 rolls per one roll that you normally do. Like that. And Don would also do a forward roll where he flirted with the timing a little bit and used his left hand to force notes in to get the melody. So we'll talk about that a little bit too later. Songs like Goodbye Liza Jane and things like that, he used a continuous forward roll, Cumberland Gap, things like that. And that's really tricky to do. I mean, he was a master of the forward roll. So you need to learn the forward roll. And another roll that Don uses all the time is the Dixie breakdown roll. And that's what I call it because he uses this particular roll to play Dixie breakdown. And we'll get into that too. But the roll goes like this. It's basically a forward roll, 1, 2, 3, and then he comes back with the first finger and hits the second string, and it goes like this. Like that. And I'll show you that from the side. Like that. And this particular roll is very, very important in Reno style because it's not just for Dixie breakdown. Don doesn't do Earl's alternating thumb roll, which if you play Scruggs style you'll be familiar with. It goes like this. Like that. You've heard that before in things like Cripple Creek, stuff like that Earl did. It did that in Cripple Creek and Beverly Hillbillies, all kinds of tunes, Doing My Time. Well, Don's version of that roll is the Dixie Breakdown roll. So it's not just limited to Dixie Breakdown. It goes like this. Okay, instead of Don's version is, okay, he leaves the 5th string completely out of it. And Don uses the same roll in the same tunes, like Cripple Creek and other tunes. So you need to learn that roll. That's real important. And also Don does a lot of doubling up with his thumb, which I mean he's hitting the 3rd string or whatever string twice with the thumb and then rolls forward. And you can also use that with the Dixie breakdown roll, like so he's doubling up on the thumb like that before he does a roll. And I'll show you more about the doubling up on the thumb later on. And another roll that Don uses that is different from Earl's Foggy Mountain breakdown roll is like this, where he comes down with the thumb and does the hammer-ons. Okay. Well, Don didn't do that. Don did the hammer-ons with his pointer finger here, 1st finger, and he does a hammer-on the same way, but he's only doing it with the 1st finger, and begins to roll forward after he does the hammer-on. So okay, and this is a real important roll too, because it really gave Don kind of his sound that he got when he did the Foggy Mountain breakdown roll. So and I'll show you that one from the side. It's like this. Okay. And Don does another version. He actually does a couple of versions of the Foggy Mountain breakdown roll. One is, it's almost the same thing, but instead of hammering on here at the 2nd and 3rd fret, he comes down and he single strings the notes from the 2nd and 3rd. So, and what I mean by single string, which we'll go over in the single string section, but for now, what I mean is the thumb down and the 1st finger up. So you're imitating a flat pick, 1 2 1 2 1 2, like that. Thumb down, 1st finger up. So and it's a real tough roll to get, and I'll show you that from the side, like this. And Don didn't do that a whole lot. He did it in quite a few tunes, actually, but during a lot of the live stuff I've heard, he didn't do that one as much as the hammer-on one. Like that. It's tricky to do it the single string, especially fast, but he did do a roll like that. And another version of the Foggy Mountain breakdown roll is one that you can only do when the tune goes to D. And what he does is he slides up to your bar position D at the 7th fret, and you're going to leave the 1st string open, but you're going to be using the 2nd string and the 3rd string on the 7th fret. So, alright, that's the sound that you're going to hear. And what's interesting about this particular lick is Don uses the D string, the 1st string, as a drone string, as compared to using the 5th string as a drone string that we normally use. But of course we're in D chord right now, so but it is common for Don to use this 1st string as a drone even in G or C, because he does a lot of partial chords like this, where this is part of a G chord, but he's leaving the 1st string open, so, and that's part of 5/8. That. So keep that in mind. Even when you go up the neck somewhere, you can leave that 1st string open. Like that. Don used that a lot. But this particular lick, is another version of the Foggy Mountain breakdown roll. Like I said, you come up to the 7th fret. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hammer on from the 6th fret to the 7th on the 3rd string. So, and this is where I'm doubling up on the thumb like I was talking about. Like that. And usually he would slide into it. Like that. So, I'll show you that roll from the side. Okay. So basically the roll is just you're hitting the thumb twice and then rolling forward. Like that. And like I said, you can also do that on the Dixie breakdown roll. So those are the main rolls that Don used. Like I said, he used many different rolls, but these are the ones that are most common that he did. And those are some of the big differences between Earl and Don. So learn those rolls, and that'll get you started on getting that Reno sound.